I'm Chef Scardino. Welcome to Harvest Hub Meal Box number 3. Students are back, and we're going to be working on meal box number 3. You're probably asking, what's in meal box number 3? Roasted pork tenderloin, sweet peach chili glaze, a local vegetable succotash, and a roasted beet and kale salad with Firefly Farm goat cheese. Let's get started. Please remember, some of the items in this meal box are subject to change because it's the end of the growing season. We're going to do the best we can. So the first thing you need to start on is washing your beets in cold water. Then you're going to wipe them off with a paper towel so there's no dirt. And you can see these guys have these on aluminum foil with some olive oil or canola oil. Spread that olive oil on them. And then what you're going to need to do once you get the oil on there is cover these up and then fold it into a nice, neat package so it's sealed and no air can escape. That'll help the roasting process. Then they're going to put these in a pan and then put them in the oven at 350 degrees for around an hour and a half or until they're tender. All right, so some of the students left. This is Justice, this is Jayla. Ella, you're still here. So right before this in the video, before this even started, we had to roast the beets. So we have an explanation of that. So the beets are in the oven roasting. So now we're gonna prep some of these vegetables. In past videos, we've done something called blanch and shock. I don't know if we'll post a link on how to do this or we'll show you how to do it. So we're gonna prep all these ingredients for the succotash, and then we'll move on to the roasted beet salad and show you how to do the pork tenderloin. So now we're going to move on to the pork tenderloin that comes to a cryovac package. When you open these, I think it's the best idea if you have a pair of scissors or your knife is to kind of like let some of the liquid that's in there go to the bottom. And then what I do is I cut right here and then over, you got to be careful, over the garbage can or your sink. See, all the liquid's gonna go to the bottom. There's not much liquid in there. And then I can put this on the cutting board like this and throw that away. Now, we were talking about this earlier. Some people will leave this silver skin on. It might make it a little bit tougher, but I think you'll be okay. I think what we're gonna do, if you want to, if you have a very sharp knife, you can just cut this silver skin off, like so. So we're gonna trim this up really quick. Okay, so now we got the pork tenderloin clean. We cut it in half. Once again, we say this a lot. This is your food. You can do whatever you want with it. We're going to season this one. We have some jerk seasoning, which is a Caribbean seasoning, which is spicy and a little bit sweet, which will go well with the glaze. But if you just have salt and pepper, you'll be okay. So what we usually do is put this, and you'll notice here, Kristen, if you come in here, we put our seasoning in small little bowls because if we touch this, this pork and stuff, we don't want to use this again because we don't want to cross-contaminate. So what we're gonna do here is just take this, and if you don't mind, Jayla, just take some of this and we're just gonna sprinkle this all over. A nice coating and a little bit of salt over the top. Justice, if you could grab that pepper mill right there. Hit that with some, we really want to get this seasoned. We want it to be nice. Be mindful if you use something like jerk seasoning or a pre-made seasoning, sometimes they contain sugar, which can make it burn, so you have to be very careful when you sear something. So once we get these seasoned up, we'll show you how to sear them. Okay, so Jayla and Justice got this seasoned. We got a pan on medium-high heat. This is actually avocado oil. And some of you are probably saying, why avocado oil? It has a high smoking point, which means it doesn't break down, so we can get this pan a little bit hotter without the oil turning black and going rancid. So what we're gonna do is get this going. And like I said, there's a little bit of sugar in this, so we don't want it to get too hot or it'll burn it. So always when you put anything in a pan, get as close as you can to the pan, okay? You're better off being closer than going up high and dropping it in. So don't be scared of that. Can you squirt just a tiny bit more oil there? Just right there. Thank you, Jayla. Perfect. And now, I think we can fit, we have 2 here. We have an extra piece here. We're gonna cook that too. Now you gotta watch this. Now remember, I have pork on my hands. You need to wash your hands correctly. We do not want to cross-contaminate. Now we're at this point, I want to say something. The minimal internal temperature for cooking pork is 155 degrees. If you have a thermometer, you can use that. Okay, that's the minimum. A lot of people are so, with chicken and pork like this, they're so terrified of getting sick that they just put the hammer down on it and overcook it. Don't overcook it. Keep it at 155. We're gonna put a little bit of moisture in here so it stays moist. We're gonna put just a little bit of water once we sear this off, and I'll show you. So every once in a while, if you can zoom in a little bit, we're just gonna get a look at that. And also, if it doesn't look like it's browning really well, I'm gonna add right now just a little bit of butter, okay? To help that browning process move along. So once we get this seared on all sides, we're gonna put, this pan can go directly in the oven. Now, if you could, thank you, Kristen. You're like, hey, I don't have a pan that can go in the oven, what could I do? You could do this. You could put your pork tenderloin in a small casserole dish, crank the heat up to about 450, and it'll brown, and then you can lower the temperature to like 350, so it will roast in the oven. So once we get this seared, we'll show you what's next. So this peach sweet chili sauce comes with your meal box. We make it here, and what you can do 1 or 2 things. If you're not sure, you can actually cook your pork just like this, put it in the oven, and you can dip your pork in it. What we're gonna do here is just lightly glaze this pork with this peach sweet chili sauce. Okay, you can hold that, please. Thank you. And I need these tongs. And then we're just gonna kind of give it a roll around a little. You know what, Jayla, can you put a little bit more on there? Just put it right here. Perfect. I think there'll be enough on the bottom, so we're good. So now, gotta be careful. Peaches, sugar, it can burn. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a little bit of this, thank you for this water. This is just water. If we had chicken stock, we would use chicken stock, but we're gonna put a little bit of water in here so this doesn't burn. And then we are going to put it in a 350 degree oven for about 20 minutes. So on to our local vegetable succotash. This is just regular olive oil. It's not very strong at all. And we're going to add a little bit of butter. Fun fact, if I just put this butter in here by itself at this heat, it would start to burn. But with the olive oil, since it has a higher smoking point, it will not burn, and it'll give us a little bit more wiggle room so the pan can get nice and hot to cook this. So we're gonna get this going right here, and then we're gonna add, this corn has not been cooked. Okay, we're just gonna put the corn right in here. And there's probably a better way to do this, but too late. And just let that, you can eat this, this corn tastes great by itself. There's a little bit of, we have popcorn. Oh my goodness. So if you can hold that. Now, we're just gonna let that go a little bit. If you could go get a spoon from over there, we'll try to get the rest of the corn in. Now, we're gonna add our onions. Jayla, do you mind coming closer to me? Thank you, Jayla. So we have corn, we have onions, green beans, and tomatoes. These green beans have already been blanched and chopped. So they're basically cooked. We're gonna try to sneak this corn in there really quick and get that going. This dish really is almost done. Like you could almost mix this all together and eat it without cooking it. So we're just gonna heat it up a little bit and bring some of the flavor of these onions out. And then we're gonna add these green beans. Now, your food, do whatever you want with it, season it any way you want. With this, I wouldn't add anything sweet to it because our pork dish is gonna be pretty sweet, okay? And then we have the beets and the goat cheese. Beets have kind of an earthy sweetness to them, and I think we're gonna do a balsamic vinaigrette with that. So we're just gonna saute this, and then we are going to add, Justice, hit that with some pepper. I'm gonna go get some salt. I'm gonna hit this with a little bit of salt. Remember, don't over salt. You can add more, but you can't take it out. So now, look, we got some extra corn in here. We're gonna add that. So now, Jayla, you can add all those tomatoes, help her out. We'll get that in there. So our pork dish is going to be a little bit spicy, but it's going to be on the sweet side. We're going to add a Cajun seasoning to this. This is from a company called Spiceology. It's really wonderful stuff. People are like, Spiceology is too expensive, and it's expensive for a reason, because it's delicious, and they make a great product. So we're gonna season this with this. Never do what I'm doing right now. Never season with your container because the top could come off and it could fall in here. But I'm gonna take the risk today and I'm gonna do it. So we're gonna put some of this in here. Oh, do you see that? I almost made a big mistake. Put too much at once. We'll check for seasoning and then we'll check our pork and then we'll start on the beet salad. Good? So we want to show you, this pork is not done, but do you see how this is starting to get thick at the bottom? And that is due to, I guess it's the pectin in peaches. Is that what it's called, pectin? I'm not sure. We're gonna go with that. So the natural thickener of these peaches, but you gotta be careful because if this reduces down too much, it'll burn. So right now, this pork is not done, but I'm gonna add a little bit more water to this, okay? And put it back in the oven. So our pork is out of the oven. Like we said, it's temped at 145. Remember, you cannot just cut into this pork. If you do, all the juices that are in the pork tenderloin will run out. So you need to let it rest. Let it sit at room temperature for at least 10 minutes. And that's what we're gonna do right now. And while we're letting this rest, we're gonna start on the beet salad. Onto the salad. This is Miss Murray. She is the CTE teacher's assistant here at Southern Garrett High School. We have a lot of people going in and out today. So now we're gonna work on this kale beet salad with goat cheese. The first thing you need to remember, some people are like, I don't like goat cheese. And here's why some people don't like it. They've never had high quality goat cheese. This is White Rock goat cheese from Firefly Farms. This stuff is wonderful. So if you've had like a low grade goat cheese, some people, they don't like it. Try this and it'll change your mind. So what we're gonna do, if you don't mind opening this, Miss Murray, we have our kale, which looks a little strange, but we blanched and shocked it. Now it's cold. We're gonna add our beets into this kale. Look, some people will eat kale raw. I just think it's just too fibrous. So we blanched and shocked it and then chilled it down. We're gonna add some of these roasted beets. And then we are going to just gently take this goat cheese, and if you could help Miss Murray, just add some of that in there. Once again, do whatever you want. You could actually make this a hot dish if you wanted to and cook the beets and stuff and top it with some goat cheese. It would still be really good. I think it needs to be a little bit more refreshing. So now what we're gonna do, I think it's best, we made a little bit of, this is just olive oil, balsamic vinegar, and honey. So we're gonna add this to that mixture with the goat cheese. And then we're just gonna add a little bit in here. And then we are going to add a little bit of pepper. And then gently incorporate this into the salad. We also have some yellow beets here. I'm not sure if those will be in your meal box, but since we have some of these, we're gonna use these for a little bit of contrast. If you can, if you have cold food, try to use a cold plate. It always makes things nicer. So we're just gonna gently stack this on here, just like this. It smells wonderful, doesn't it? So just be gentle. So now we're gonna take a little bit of our extra dressing and just drizzle it around. And since we have, if you could pan up on me, we have these beautiful spicy microgreens, and we're just gonna put a little bit on top there. So, the salad's done. Let's cut the pork, and we'll be ready to go. So now this pork is rested. In a word of advice, like some people think here, let me give this Murray a spoon to stir this really quick. Some people think cutting things thin is always a good thing, but really the thinner you cut stuff, the more moisture you can lose. So I'm not saying great big thick chunks, but definitely a little bit thicker than most people want it. Now look, you can see here, I want you to look at this pork, back to me. There's a little bit of pink in this pork. It's fine. If it worries you, cook it some more, but trust me, it's been cooked to the appropriate temperature. There's no reason to overcook it. So we're gonna get this cut, plated up. All right, we did it. This is Kristen. Kristen, thank you so much for filming today. Thank you again, Justice. Everybody else had to leave. So we have our pork tenderloin with the peach sweet chili sauce, the local vegetable succotash, and here is the kale, beet, goat cheese salad. Wonderful. And there's extra peach sweet chili sauce to dip your pork in, and there's also extra vegetables here. So there's plenty of food in this meal box. Before we go, a big thank you to Garrett Growers, Castleman Creamery and Market, Firefly Farms, Shelly Argabright, and everybody at 360 Access Hub. And most of all, thank you to all my students in front of the camera and behind it. And remember, everyone deserves to eat well.